because there's such a push on we need to take these people off the street, especially this administration, because they paint the boogeyman as the drug trade is the problem, and these are the people that did it. But I think in the end, he'll probably die before he sees much prison time anyway. I mean, he's very old.
He's old. What happened there, though? That whole takedown, I've asked a few people about that. That was crazy.
Well, you look at even like the Chapitos, the sons of El Chapo.
Yeah.
Like they're all very interesting. Because like you have like Ivan, who's like kind of, I would say, the most powerful son. He's obviously, I think, the heir apparent to his father. But then you have like the youngest, Ovidio.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like weak. Like he never really should have been in that life. And his father even knew that. That's why I called him the mouse. He was a very like timid guy. And I think in a way, like they broker with the United States on certain things, like get my brother out and we'll give you this guy, or get this guy. You know, and I'm sure his father even tried to get released. Like his father's in the ADX, right? So the ADX is end of the road. There's no human contact with anybody. And he's been whining for years. He's been in the ADX for years.
That's the last place I'd ever want to be.
And he's in H unit, which is SAM's prisoner. SAM's is special administrative measure, which means a judge has to put you in SAM's. There's only a certain amount of people in SAM's.
They have like a shittier place within that place?
Inside it. There's Range 13, which is...
You're talking about Florence ADX Supermax in Colorado.
Correct. That SAM's unit is terrorists.
That's like where they have Ramzi Youssef.
Youssef, the shoe bomber, the underwear bomb, like all those guys. And then they have people like El Chapo, Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, the Boston Marathon guy, Dylan Roof, people like that.
Yeah.
They're in Sam's unit, so they have no human contact with anybody. And Chapo has been writing letters to the judge, Brian Cogan, in his case, and whining about it. I can't see my family. My wife's not even allowed to come here. And I think you have to ask yourself at some point, do we have to look at this and say this is cruel and unusual punishment?
Even for people like that?
Correct.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we have a series of laws we have in this country where even people like that, and I know I'm not going to say there are people that should have the same laws as us, but you have to treat them in a certain way. But I think he probably even tried to move to maybe get out of that prison. Like, we'll barter. We'll give you this for this.
Right. So he may have been behind the whole.
Which I think's off limits. They'll never let him out of ADX. He's escaped like 3 times. It's never going to happen.
Those were all Mexican prisons, though.
Right. And he's never going to get out of ADX. But if he could broker maybe to like a USP, which is one level below.
Right.
But even like you look at the litigation for these people. I recently talked to an attorney that I didn't have him on my show. It was kind of off the record. But he was he was dealing with a client that was a high-level trafficker. And he told me the trial's a joke. There's no like, they just bring like rats up on the stand and just, they say this happened. It's like, oh, okay, it probably happened. And that's that. Like,
it's not incentivized.
Because there's such a push on we need to take these people off the street, especially this administration. Because they paint the boogeyman as the drug trade is the problem, and these are the people that did it. The Ovidio Guzman, the Ivan Guzman, the Chapitos. They didn't create fentanyl. Fentanyl comes from China. It doesn't come from Mexico.
But they do funnel it.
They traffic it.
Yes.
Right. But everybody traffics. They all traffic fentanyl.
Yeah, but they're getting in all defense here, though. They're getting it.
But in the end,
border. They're the experts.
Anybody listening, and I ask you too, has the price, has the amount, has anything in the drug trafficking world changed whatsoever when El Chapo was arrested?
No. It's
Didn't
like
cost any more.
It's like cutting off, a leaf of a tree. Oh well.
Right.
It's
like taking a thing of sand out of the beach. It's a complete and utter waste of time. But, and there's one way to fix it, and they'll never do it because people will be up in arms about it. They're already up in arms
Legalization?
About it. Yes, but it would have to be, and I've heard David Simon talk about this, the creator of The Wire.
Great show.
But I would urge you, if you're a fan of the show, to watch some of his talks that he does. He'll do interviews with PBS, things of that nature. And he's a big advocate for the drug trade, the drug war, not for the drug trade, but the ending of the drug war, because it has completely changed society. And he talks about how think if we as a country, the people at the top, the president, Congress, all these different people, where they just stopped for a second and looked at what has happened to America, the America they left behind.
Mm-hmm.
Those people have never been to Philadelphia or,
No.
Parts of New York City. Like, they don't know what really goes on. And think if we were to, like, you look at Kensington in Philadelphia, right?
It's insane.
It's this open air drug market.
Yes.
But if we actually put time into it, it could work. We just piecemeal it and throw it into one area with no research and just be like, hey, everybody do drugs here and it's okay. Think if we had like places to go where people could do these drugs, right? Because they're going to do them anyway.
Yes.
Whether they're legal or not. It would eliminate the black market where you go to a regulated clinic where drugs are not filled with poison and arsenic and all this different shit.
Mm-hmm.
And we give you a platform that's tax-based where we use some of the waste of all the money we've gotten from this war, and we put it into programs for people. And we say, these 5 people, your friends, have all gotten clean. What if we entice you to get clean too? And then maybe we could take some of the vacant properties we have, because we have millions of them around America. We can get some contractors to flip them with government money, and we could put these people into homes. And maybe we can enforce and put them back into the workforce. Because again, we do have an unemployment problem, don't we?
Yes.
I mean, why don't we try to take this
unreported unemployment, by the way.
Right. But and Simon talked about this. Like, we should look at it like the New Deal, which we did after the Great Depression, where we reinforced people to say, you are not doing anything for our economy currently. I mean, you look at 10, 15% of this country, they're completely useless to the economy. They don't pay taxes. They live in another world.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about homeless, drug addicts, people like that, criminals. They're going to be there, and they're already a problem. So why don't we try to find a way to take a large percentage of them, get them clean, get them help with mental health, and try to reinvigorate the community again. I don't understand why we just let this happen. But what I do, because there's a lot of money behind it.
Yes.
Criminal police departments make, 85% of the arrests are probably drug related.
Yeah, and you've heard, like, Joe Rogan's made the point for years that you'll look at these cities and they have, like, something called a homeless coordinator that's making $300,000 a year. They're incentivized not to get rid of their job.
Right.
It's like the administration nightmare.
And that's why nothing will change here, because there's so much money in hunting people, basically.
Yeah.
Because we don't know where to put them.
Yeah.
So we just put them in prison.
And it's also, it's easy. It's easy to just kind of discard a person and whatever.
And people will always say,
it's sick. That's what they do.
And people will say to me, why would we legalize drugs? What would that do? Look at Kensington. Right. But let's say we actually started with Kensington and we tried it there, and we took all the people that are drug addicts and shooting up on the street, and we put them into like a facility, and we just tried and started somewhere. And think if everyone got behind it. But most people don't care because they don't deal with it.
It's not in their backyard.
Yes. Someone in middle America doesn't care, right?
Yeah. Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.